So when I graduated, it was like, great, I've got a good degree from a good university, but I don't have great work experience. I was like, oh God, okay, what do I do? And so what am I good at? I'm good at talking. So, yeah. Okay, so maybe I'll go into sales. And I went into sales. It was fun because it was just like, well, I'm getting paid to talk to people and give them a product that they want. My skill set was there. I was like, this is fantastic. It was great for a couple of years. And then I started to get a little bit, okay, this is not quite what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Ooh.
So that became...
So you were really self-aware. How did, at that young age, did you develop this self-awareness and this self-talk? Because a lot of people just go on autopilot.
I would say that goes back to the situation with my dad. When I was in that situation, obviously it was me, my mum and my sister. So dad was he was in a coma actually for a long time. And then even when he came out, he was in hospital for a long time. Like I'm talking about a couple of years in hospital. I had to grow up really quickly. So I became very independent.
Hey guys, you're in for a special treat today. This conversation with Emi was truly inspiring. If you like what I do as an aspiring podcaster, you can support me easily by just putting a like, commenting something, or maybe even subscribing to this channel. And I promise I will invite more awesome guests like Emi. So I hope you will enjoy the show. Thanks a lot.
Hello everybody, this is Sergey with the Be Yourself podcast, the podcast on expressing our true selves. Today my guest is Emi Beredugo. She is a senior level recruitment professional with over 15 years of experience in the industries like construction, engineering, FMCG, oil and gas, you name it. She's a very fun individual who I'm really excited to talk about. So Emi, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
Emi, how are you? Where are you now? How's the weather?
Oh, okay. So I'm in London and I'm very upset about the fact that I'm still in London because I should be sitting on the beach in Dubai. That was the plan.
Oh,
and unfortunately, plans have gone a little bit waylaid. So I'm looking out the window and it's grey. And we're in June.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Go figure, right? London, rain.
Oh, yeah. It never happens, ever.
Wow. But you know, like for me, it's always when it's raining, it seems like you can work and not be, kind of concerned that everyone else having fun somewhere on the outside, right? Everyone working.
No, that doesn't work for me. I don't care about stuff like that. All I think is like, why am I here? Why am I not in the sun? I want to be outside. I don't like seasons. I hate seasons.
You hate seasons?
Oh my God. Yeah. I hate seasons. If it was up to me, just have summer. Summer all year long is absolutely fine. I don't need spring. So when everybody else, the flowers are out. I'm like, yeah, okay, it's pretty, but yeah, just give me the summer.
And let's talk a little bit about your experience in the past, because you don't like seasons for a reason.
Yeah.
And I know that you've lived in a country where predominantly the sun is always there.
Oh, yeah.
So can you tell me a little bit, how did you wind up being in the UK, working in the UK, and what preceded this?
Okay, so always like my career, because I was born and raised in the UK. So that's where I started off after university. Did biomedical sciences, and then that was an error. Should never have done biomedical sciences because I realized I would be a rubbish scientist. And then when I graduated, I was working in London and it was cool. It was fun. London's a great city in the summer. But I knew that I wasn't supposed to live my life in London. And the main reason for it is because I don't like seasons. I don't like winter. I don't like spring. I like summer. That's it. I don't like autumn either. So when I wanted to think about, okay, should I go traveling? And that was an idea, to go traveling and check out the rest of the world. And I love traveling, but I'm also not a backpacker. So, from a young age, I'm pretty bougie. I can't live in hostels. And I don't do that. I'm not going to get my backpack and have one backpack of clothes. I'm like, no. I want to live in another country that is hot, live there for a period of time, experience that kind of lifestyle. So went online, did a bit of research, came across Dubai. And I thought, okay, I have no idea where Dubai is in the world. All I know that it looks cool, it's tax-free, and it's sunny. So I like, brilliant. And that's how I ended up landed in Dubai. And I went, yes, this is me. Unfortunately, I landed in the height of summer. So didn't realize that it's either hot or very hot. And it was very hot when I landed. It was like being in the oven, but got over it. I loved it. It was the best 12 years of my life.
And what did you do at the time that allowed you to just travel like that and continue making money and paying your bills?
Well, I was quite lucky. So when I was in the UK, I worked for a recruitment agency, and there are only a few countries in the world where they use recruitment agencies to fill their roles. And Dubai and that whole region, actually, the GCC, which is made of like Saudi, Bahrain, Qatar, for example, they have recruitment agencies. So I was like, right, okay, so I can live the lifestyle that I want, but still stay within my career. And so that is the job that I moved over to do. I joined another recruitment agency for a couple of years, and then I moved in-house. So at that point, I started working for construction companies in their HR department, heading up their recruitment teams.
So you said only few countries in the world largely use recruitment agencies?
Yeah.
What is
at
the
that
guess?
time.
Okay. And what, is it more widespread now?
Yeah, it's a lot more widespread now. So at the time, if people were looking to move overseas as an agency recruiter, they'll go to Canada, they may go to Australia, they may go to New Zealand, and then they'll go to the GCC region, which includes Dubai. Now, the market is a little bit more developed, so a lot more countries are using recruitment agencies than before.
How did you came across this profession? Was it the first choice, or was it the result of bumps and bruises?
Oh, let me tell you, there was a lot of bumps and bruises along the way. So what actually happened is that, okay, so let me take a step back. So I'm the child of two Nigerian parents. And I don't know if you know anything about Nigerian parents, but especially when I was growing up, there were only few professions that was acceptable. So acceptable meant being a doctor, being a lawyer, being an accountant.
Interesting.
Those are the type of professions. If I wanted to say, creative world, not a hope. That's a hobby. That's not a profession. Yeah. So I was lucky. I'm the firstborn, and I said, I want to be a doctor. And I went, tick. That is 100%. That's acceptable. That is acceptable. That's like, great. So my entire life, I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor. And I never thought about a plan B. I just didn't, this in my head. That was what I was going to do. I was going to be Dr. Beredugo, and I was going to be a pediatrician because I like children. Now, unfortunately, what actually happened on my last day of school, my dad was driving. He was an engineer. He was driving. And whilst he was driving, he had a stroke. And so it was, and when he had the stroke, he immediately went into a coma. And that was my last day of school. So obviously that's like real turbulent, sad times. I was not concentrating. I had to do my my A-levels to go to medical school. And I just couldn't concentrate in my exams. Yeah. So I didn't get the grades. And all of a sudden, it was the first major thing that's actually happened to me, major negative thing. And I'm like, well, I don't know what to do now. When my results came in, I was like, I don't know what to do. I was supposed to be a doctor. I haven't got the grades anymore. Now, my mum, during this time, he was still in a coma. My mum, being quite education orientated, said, look, your dad would have wanted this. He would have wanted you to go to university. So yes, okay, you haven't got the grades for medical school, but that doesn't mean that you can't look at something else aligned to medicine. So I did biomedical sciences. And I did my biomedical sciences and very quickly realized, I cannot be a scientist. I was like, this is the worst profession for me.
Well, but did you have a predisposition? Like, did you how did you realize that it wasn't something that fit you?
I like science. I really love science, and I particularly like biology. What I didn't realize is that biomedical sciences, and actually which trains you, really good course if you want to be a biomedical scientist, but it's very chemistry orientated.
Ooh, yeah.
And to be in the lab all the time, the laboratory doing chemical titrations where you have to do one drop. I don't have that attention to detail. I swear in the 3 years I was there, the amount of times I mucked up my science, kind of laboratory, and I was like, okay, mucked it up again. I've just been here for 3 hours. That was a waste of time. And then I'll go to the geeky people in the class and go, sorry, I mucked up again. Can you give me your results so I can actually do it, so I can actually pass? So I was like, no, that's how I knew the chemistry side of things, the laboratory side, that definitely wasn't for me. But I enjoyed the biology side. I enjoyed learning about the human body. That is what I enjoyed. So it just wasn't quite the career for me. That's what I realized.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did the switch happen? How did you shift?
Wow.
So
when the university I went to was a really good university, it's like in the top 5, and there's about 107. I think it's 107 universities in the UK. So great university. And
can you name the university?
Yeah, sure. It's Durham University. Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah, go Durham. So it's a kind of university where if you didn't get into Oxford and Cambridge, you'll go to like Durham, but people will go, oh no, I chose Durham. It's like, no, you didn't. Because if you had the choice, you'd go to Oxford and Cambridge. It's like, don't be silly. But yeah, so I was like, no, Durham University is a great university. They had loads of contacts with like people within industry. So when the time came to do work experience, they had great companies lining up to like say, hey, come and work for us over the summer.
Wow.
Yeah. Now the problem was I had no interest in that. I wanted to go to America and kind of be in the sun. So every year, whereas all my friends were doing proper internships and work experience, I went to America and I worked in SeaWorld. Which is not really acceptable to say you work at SeaWorld now, but at the time it was okay. I was one of the people selling the Shamu dolphin. So I was like, come and get your Shamu dolphin. I'm English, so I got loads of tips. I'm like, this is brilliant, So I basically did that. I did Busch Gardens, I did SeaWorld, and then I worked out in a country club in Long Island. So when I graduated, it was like, great, I've got a good degree from a good university, but I don't have great work experience. I was like, oh God, okay, what do I do? I was like, what am I good at? I'm good at talking. Yeah, I'm good at talking. It was like, this is not hard. Yeah, exactly. I was like, yeah, everybody's like, yeah, sure. But I was like, right, okay, so maybe I'll go into sales. And I went into sales and it was fun because it was just like, I'm getting paid to talk to people and give them a product that they want. My skill set was there. I was like, this is fantastic. And it was great for a couple of years. And then I started to get a little bit, okay, this is not quite what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Ooh.
So that became.
So you were really self-aware. How do you? Can I stop you right there?
Sure.
At that young age did you develop this self-awareness and this self-talk? How? Because a lot of people just go on autopilot for 12 to 20 years and then realize that they hate everybody and they hate their work. So how come you knew that you needed just to take a pause and look at everything and reflect?
Yeah, I would say that goes back to the situation with my dad, because when I was in that situation, obviously it was me, my mom and my sister. So dad he was in a coma actually for a long time. And then even when he came out, he was in hospital for a long time. Like I'm talking about a couple of years in hospital because he had brain injury. And I had to grow up really quickly. So I became very independent very quickly. I had to be an adult and at 18 onwards. Also, the learning I got out of that situation is that life is short. You never know when something could happen. And what are you going to do? One of my biggest things is look, I'm not going to be a victim. Life is crap. Things come out, left field. But what are you going to do? You can either choose to be upset for however long and continue to stay upset, or you can be upset in that moment and then go, right, okay, I don't want to be upset forever. I'm going to find a positive. What is that positive? Who do I need to go to? If I can rely on myself, great. If there's other people around me, fantastic. If there's people not around me, I will find people to help me. And so when I was in that job in sales and I realized, look, I enjoyed the social aspect. I enjoyed talking to people, but it's not fulfilling me in other ways. So I started to talk to friends. I started to look on YouTube and Google and just go, well, okay, what skills do I have that still allows me to interact with people? And people said, try recruiting. And I was like, okay, let's try that. And I joined a recruitment agency.
Like that. Wow, this is so powerful. I actually got goosebumps when you were talking about, understanding that the life is short, and this skill of being able to look around and just honestly talk to yourself, say, hey, is this the people that I want to be around?
Yeah.
Is this the work that I want to do? I don't know, is this the apartment that I want to live? Or even the country?
Exactly.
I think maybe Scott Galloway or someone else told that people actually don't pay enough attention to. No, I'm sorry. It was Raval Navikand. He's an amazing guru, like mind. He said that people don't spend enough time thinking about the country or in the city that they want to live in.
Yeah.
It's such a critical decision.
Yeah.
And for me, like as someone who's not been traveling a lot, I think that I might be missing out on a better place for life. So can you kind of attest that to the statement that you gotta spend time thinking about where you live?
Yeah, well, and I 100% agree with that, because so many people, and even within my social circle, so many people are born in an area and stay in that area, get a job,
the easiest path.
Yeah, and then they're gonna retire in the same area. And I'm like, look, there's a whole world out there. And it doesn't mean that you have to leave the country. Sometimes it's just leaving the town. Sometimes it's just moving up the road. Sometimes it's moving from one end of town, city, to another end of the city.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but for me, 100%, I knew what type of lifestyle I wanted. And that, I suppose the learning I got out of that, I had a great lifestyle. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Is Dubai everything that you see on TV? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But my learning is the interaction with different cultures that changed me as a person. The ability to live in a new country where I didn't know anybody and start again. That was,
This is so cool, Emi. Yeah. I didn't expect this to go this well, because when someone's getting this type of response, when someone's feeling chills, it means that this person's really drawn to what you're saying. And this is what I feel now. And it feels like, if I like what you're saying so much, I have to try it for myself.
Definitely
feels
try
like
it.
Right now, because of the obvious reasons, I can't leave my country as a male. But oh my God, give me a chance. I'm gonna travel to all the parts of this globe. Meet all the new friends that I've acquired through this work and through my podcast. And we'll have a new beginning and a new chapter in my life.
Absolutely.
So, and this is interesting to look at life as writing a book, or as writing of your own book, right? Because one chapter ends, you go to another city, a new chapter begins. You stopped working on this project, you start a new one, join a new team, also a new chapter. And basically, why do people want to settle? Why do people stay like complacent? Like why is that so? Why would people don't like new challenges? Because it's unknown, right?
I would say it's because people are, there's a phrase that people are scared of change. They're fearful of change. Okay. And why is that? Because challenging the status quo, whether it's, leaving an organization, leaving a town, could be even leaving a relationship. That is scary because you're going into unknown territory and you don't know how you're going to manage in that unknown territory, but you know how to do this, what you're doing now. You might not like it, but you know it. You know it inside out. You know what to expect. And that's, I think that's what it boils down to. So is it easy to push yourself out of your comfort zones? No, but I think pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, embracing change, being open to change, that is what makes you grow as a person, because new opportunities come your way that you never would have experienced, never would have even imagined would come your way.
If you guys don't know, Emi is now one of the hosts of the Chat and Cheese podcast, the podcast that my company produces and promotes. And our mutual friend Chad told me that if you ever think that you have found yourself, and this is direct quote,
Yeah.
he says, this is sad. This is really sad.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because my podcast is called Be Yourself. It kind of has got this groundwork that you have found yourself.
Yeah.
But he's kind of saying that you can rediscover yourself, right? That's what we're talking about, because
Yeah.
you don't know what other facets of your personality you might uncover.
Yeah.
By
if you're not
just-
open
yeah,
to
by
change.
what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I agree. The person I am now is very different to the person that I probably would have been if I didn't go abroad. You know, you mentioned the podcast. So that makes me laugh because if you obviously talking to me now and anyone probably listening would just think, oh, yeah, I'm a natural talker. So to do a podcast and be a monthly co-host, that'll be easy. Let me tell you something. Yeah. If you ask me 3.5 years ago, would I be doing a podcast and talking in public or even talking on stage? Because I do quite a bit of talking now. Never. I can talk in front of my team. I'm not talking in public. I am not doing that. I'm like, oh my God. First of all, I'm not eloquent enough. I don't speak the Queen's English. I definitely don't. Yeah. Yeah. And I stutter sometimes because I talk too quickly. The words come out and I go, oh no, I didn't really mean that. So because of that, I was like, no way would I talk in public. And you know what happened? I was at a networking evening. Someone asked me opinion on a topic and I gave my opinion and thought nothing of it. Went on holiday a week later, looked at my LinkedIn, which I shouldn't do on holiday, but looked at my LinkedIn and somebody went, hey, you've been recommended to talk by someone. I said, talk by who? And they mentioned a name. I was like, the person I just met at the networking dinner. I literally met her that night.
Really? They recommended you to talk?
Yeah.
So did you accept?
I accepted, and then I went, oh, Christ, what am I doing? This is not what I like. And
But
I was
always say yes, as a movie with Jim Carrey. Always say yes.
Always say yes. Always say yes. And dragged along a few people from my current job with me. I was like, listen, I need moral support. And I dragged along my old manager. I was like, help me because I need to see friendly faces. And it was scary. But you know what? Now it's so much easier. Now it's so much easier. So when the podcast opportunity came out, I was like, even then I was like, oh, these two industry legends. I was like, am I sure? And I was like, well, they obviously seeing something. So let's just go with it. Absolutely loved it. But like I said, you got to be open to the change. You never know who you're going to be in the future. You never know what opportunities you come across.
But at the same time, as far as the career goes, I mean, as someone who's underwent a complete career change, I had a business that dealt with, actually we had a lot of contractors, content writers from Kenya, from Africa.
Yeah.
And we were doing content writing, but then basically I left my own company, not even left, I was asked to leave.
Yeah.
This is something really funny about me. I draw parallels between me and Steve Jobs because I was pretty much fired from my own company, own startup.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And it had a really horrible, time collecting myself after that. Pretty much a big trauma. Even though I had money because I converted my stock, I threw it all away, partied all the way, and then I was really I was in pain, looking for something new.
Yeah.
And podcast was a savior for me. It was a blessing for me because I first started podcast, not even podcast. I started talking to people on my live stream on Instagram.
Okay.
And guess what? I invited Chad.
That's how you two got in contact.
Yeah, like an unknown dude from Ukraine, right? Yeah. And somehow Chad, being Chad, the most amazing human being, the most opportunity creating human being. He's a opportunity creator for all of us. I mean, what I talked to the founder of Job Pixel, he said that he's always like Chad is always creating opportunities for other people, and he just decided to take a shot with me and joined me on my show.
Yeah.
And I told him that I'm just thinking, or even like maybe I was starting, but pretty much I was thinking of starting the production agency, and he said that hey, maybe somewhere down the road we will work together, and half a year later we started working.
Love this. Yeah.
This is amazing. Yeah, and he just pretty much helped me to rediscover myself, because I always had passion for video.
Okay.
You know, and it's interesting how I think Robert Greene, I watch a lot of podcasts, so pardon me for quoting all these people, but Robert Greene said that there's always something in your childhood that you love and you forget. Like a lot of people, we forget about something, the spark that we had in childhood that we really, really loved, and we forget about it. And then sometimes it takes time to remember. So with me, it was exactly the case. I actually recalled that
this is my passion. This is what
video,
I like.
right?
Yeah.
I really I actually was producing a video from basketball. So and I don't know like why I never considered having a career or a business connected to video production. Yeah, so this is a short story.
And it's so true, because if you weren't forced out of your organization, that whilst that turned out to probably be the worst thing in the world, look at what it led to. Look at what it led to. I love that.
But my point was like I wanted to say that even though it's a good experience, I can't say that I wish everyone to undergo a complete career change.
Yeah.
Because it was pretty tough to grow absolutely new skills.
Yeah.
Right. So I think can you take it from here and maybe talk to the matter of building the core skill set, right? That then can help you with various professions, right?
Yeah.
But the core skill set, it must be there. Like for you, speaking abilities and what else? Like,
well, what I would say, there's no core skill set for every single job, because each job requires different technical, job specific skills or knowledge. And each job requires a certain set of behaviors. So there are
you still have to restudy everything.
You have to, I think you just have to be a continuous learner, but also not put the pressure on yourself to think, I need to go from here to here straight away in one step. There's a thing called squiggly careers. So whereas in the past, it used to be like a linear line to, you start off at this level, you go up and up and up the career ladder. Now people are taking a squiggly path to get to where they're at. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So, and that squiggly path may happen because you think, okay, right now I don't have all the skill sets. So the next job is going to get me a little bit closer. The next job is going to get me a little bit closer. Or it might happen because the job that you are or you want and you will actually end up doing for a significant period of your time, it may not even exist yet. So when I started, for example, in agency recruiting way back when, the job I have now didn't exist. It didn't even exist 4 years ago in most of the UK. So in order to learn the skills, you just got to think, I say, set yourself short-term, medium-term, long-term goals, but don't be married to them because you got to be open to the fact that your goals may change over time. But if you think, okay, you look at, let's say, a job on LinkedIn, you go, okay, that job looks amazing. I think I'll be really good at that. And then you look at all the experience, you go, okay, I'm ticking 5 out of the 10 of requirements for the role. Okay, so what do I need to get better at? Maybe I'm not so strong at, let's say, presentation skills, verbal presentation skills. How can I develop those verbal presentation skills in my current job? Well, we have team meetings. Do I ever put my hands up for team meetings? No. Okay, well, how can I speak to my manager and my colleagues and go, hey, the next time we have a team meeting, can I be a speaker? Can I take over this slot? Not the whole meeting.
So you should not necessarily change the workplace, but you can look for opportunities inside of your organization.
You can look in your current
but you have
job.
to be proactive, right?
Be proactive. Think about what is it that you want. Identify where where you need to develop yourself a little bit more, and then go I can look in my current job. And if you don't have opportunities in your current job, maybe it's outside work, maybe it's voluntary work. I'll give you an example. Even though at the beginning of the year I said, yeah, I'm going to have a low key year this year. No, I still do about a million things outside of my day job. One of them is working with a sports body where I'm on their board. I'm the HR and DEI representative for England Touch Rugby. There are parts of that role which I know that sometimes it makes me laugh. I will go to that board meeting. Yeah, we have it about once every quarter, and they're talking about, they get to the finance person's part and they talk about the profit and loss. I'm telling you, nearly every meeting I'm lost when it gets to that section. I'm like, sorry, what is that line? What are they talking about? I'm a HR professional. I don't understand this. But what do? I will listen. I will take notes. I will go back and go, right, what was that word they said? Let me go back and research that. So what's that doing? That's broadening my day-to-day experience. Broadening my skill set. And it now means I'm a little bit more commercial, a little bit more commercially minded, a little bit more financially savvy in my day job. And if there's a role in the future that requires me to be, let's say if I go the next level up and I look after a much larger budget, of course I have to be more financially savvy. But that job outside of my day job that's what's helping me. So it doesn't have to be in your current job. It could be in your network. It could be having to do doing a voluntary scheme. Could be listening to a podcast. I'm like you. I listen to every podcast, but I'm not as intellectual as you because I normally listen to reality TV podcasts. So that's what I'm listening to. But you can pick up skills literally from anywhere.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, I think a lot of recruiters going to listen to the show or watch the show. I hope so. What do you think makes a great recruiter?
So because I'm not a recruiter anymore, but I used to be. I work in the recruitment field.
Okay, first of all, let's. I warned you that I'm going to ask dumb questions. Can we just define main terms?
Yeah.
To talent acquisition is the same as a recruiter?
Okay. So this is the old debate. If you ask me, a talent acquisition professional is the same as a recruiting professional, is the same as a resourcing professional. It's the same. It's just a new word for the same thing. Yeah. Okay. But you get some people who are precious and go, no, talent acquisition is the more sophisticated version of recruiting. It's more strategic. I'm like, it's the same. It's like I've had all the titles and it's the same job, Okay. So yeah, so it's all about hiring people into the organization, the best people for that role. So the best people in terms of skill set, in terms of people who are going to add to the organization, in terms of culture, in terms of driving an organization first. That is what a talent acquisition, recruitment professional, a resourcing professional, that is what they do.
And also there are headhunters that work independently, right?
Yeah. So headhunters for me also, the only difference, headhunters you won't necessarily find within an organization. So a non-recruiting agency organization, let me say. Okay. You will find them in a recruitment agency. But again, you get the people who are precious about their job title. So I worked for a great organization called Michael Page. That was almost like the university of how to recruit within a recruitment agency. But then people will go to other firms and say, I'm a headhunter now. It's like you were headhunting when you worked at Michael Page. Your job is the same. There's literally no difference. So headhunting just means instead of waiting for people to apply for your job, you are now going out to people. You are going, oh, this person looks like they'll be a fantastic match for my role and my organization. Let me now approach that person proactively. Yeah. And that's a skill to go to someone and say, hey, I know that you might not even be looking. You never even heard of my organization. How can I convince you just to even be open to talking to me? And then once you're open to talking, how can I convince you to...
Have you ever done this? It sounds like I'm asking some intimate question, but have you ever done this? Have you ever headhunted someone?
100%. You've got to do that, whether it be agency or you're working in-house for a company. You got to go to people and go, hey, you don't know who I am, but you need to talk to me. And you don't know my company, but my company is the best company in the world. But just telling someone this is the best company in the world doesn't make any difference. It needs to be the best company for them. So what are you actually offering them? Which means you have to get really good at listening as well and finding out people's passion and people's motivations right now and in the future. That is a skill. How do you get people, someone that you don't know, to like open up and say, this is actually what I want to do in my life? You go, brilliant. My job does this. That's a skill. So that is a skill of the skill headhunting, whether you have the title headhunter or you have the title of a recruiter in a company or in a recruitment agency. Headhunting is the actual skill.
Do you have the go-to story about headhunting or recruiting someone who you close? I'm not sure if it's the verb I can use. Some deal that you sealed and you were super proud of yourself and it was a deal of a century for you or something like that.
Yeah, so I would say that when I moved initially from working in a recruitment agency, and then I worked for a quantity surveying firm, so within the construction field, okay, there was a field, there was a role, I think it was called a contracts manager. And I was finding it really difficult. I was like, I can't find anyone who's like got the skill set that they're looking for. And then I just stroke of luck, like on LinkedIn, searching, trying everything, because you have to type in keywords to bring up the right person. And then I found this one person called Craig. And I was like, that person is the person that somehow, how am I going to get in contact with that person? Crafted my email to make it enticing. The email response I got back was, hey, thanks for reaching out, but I've just signed a job offer. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm not giving up because I literally have a small pool of people for this role who are suitable for the role. And so I said, hey, that's fantastic that you got a job offer. Congratulations. When have you started yet though? No. Oh, there's still time to have a chat then. Just have a chat, just like hear about it. And if you're interested, then you can find out a little bit more. You're not starting until a month's time. So he got on the line with me. We had a great conversation. He was fun, but his skill set was right for the role. And I knew that he would work really well with the director of that department. So once I told him about,
you knew that was a match with in their personalities, right?
Oh, it was a match in terms of personality. It was a match in terms of the skill set. It was a match in terms of what he could bring to the organization. And it was a match in terms of what he said his motivations were, what he was looking for. So then I said, based on what I told you, how does this role, because it wasn't an offer yet, how does this role that I'm telling you about compared to the offer that you've just signed? And he said, well, this one sounds more interesting. I was like, fantastic. And he go, but Emi, I start in 3 days. And I was like, okay, I have a 4-stage interview process. I'm like, how can I condense 4 stages into literally a couple of days? Yeah. I did. I worked my magic and I said, look to the director, look at this person. He is what you're looking for. We turned it around. He declined the other offer. He joined my organization. We're still friends.
My God, maybe I'll be a recruitment pro by trade. I like how it sounds. Really.
But you know what? But that skill, that story that I told you, finding out what people's needs and what their what their actual motivations are, you can take that in any single job. So, for example, you want to go out, you want to get new clients. But you might not, you have to find out if you're a match for that client. So Chad, what did he want for the Chad and Cheese podcast? You have to find out what he actually wants. What
Just
are his goals?
Yeah.
Where's the career? Where does he want the podcast to go? And then you match your skills, your abilities, your services to his needs. That's how you got it. That skill set is not just a recruiter skill set. You can do that every single job.
This rings the bell of of ideal customer profile or ideal listener avatar for if we talk about podcasts. But when we begin, either as a recruiter or as a business owner, you don't have that much choice, right? You don't have that much that much of a luxury to choose, right? Though now. I kind of have requests from the customers and I actually scratch my head and think if this is a person who I really want to work with and what they want from me is something that I can give.
Yeah.
So do you think being a business owner or being an independent consultant or an independent recruiter, at some point we can start choosing? What's your take on this?
I think that, okay, so we could take this with any of the roles that you mentioned or just a job within an organization. There are times that people are going to ask you to do something. There are times that people are going to approach you, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you are the right person to do it or that you want to do it.
You want to do it.
Yeah. You may not want to, but let's say that you listen to them. Someone comes to you with an ask. You listen to them. What are you looking for? Why are you looking for this? What are you trying to achieve? And then you think about yourself. You do your self-evaluation and self-reflection. Do I have that skill set? Do I have the time? Do I have the passion? If those two align, then you can move forward. And that's whether, I have that within my organization now. Emi, can you help me to do this? It's not what we do. It's not what you do. But what I will do is be helpful. And I will put you in touch with somebody who can help you, who has the skill
it's
set.
No, but you deny, but you say what you can do for
absolutely.
them. Right?
Yeah. You should always help, because just because you can't help them today, it doesn't mean that you can't help them in the future, because their needs will always evolve and your situation may evolve. So in the future, yes, you can maybe work together. But if you don't help them by putting in touch maybe with someone who can, or offering advice on where to go to find the help, they're not going to come back to you.
There's a book by Greg McKeown. He's your fellow British man.
Yeah.
He wrote Essentialism. And it seems to me that what you're saying falls directly into his rule book. He says he's got a rule that if it's not a definite yes, then it's a no. Yeah. And you see, it's often you don't always get a definite yes.
No, you don't.
Right? And it's so tough to say no.
Yeah.
Because you don't know if the definite yes is right behind the corner.
Absolutely.
And you don't want to lose this opportunity.
I would say it could be, it's just not a definite yes right now. Just because someone doesn't say yes now, it doesn't mean that it's a no forever. Yeah. Okay. Because things may change. So I would challenge that a little bit. I understand where he's coming from, but I think it's a little bit too rigid.
Rigid. Good word. So you're saying, this is some philosophical stuff. Really good one. I think we're all in hiring business. I don't know, we hire for our businesses, we hire for our companies. Do we hire for our families? I don't know. Sometimes you can position it like that. You're also hunting for a soulmate person to start a family with, right?
100%.
So because Alan Langer, he was on my podcast. He's a guy who's got a sales academy here, so he teaches people sales. He says that we sell everywhere, and pretty much recruitment is also we do this pretty much everywhere.
Yeah,
and it's such a imperative skill to have to present yourself, to present your company. And what you just said, you were pretty much talking to Craig as if you were trying to convince him to, I don't know, you need to love your company to really be supremely successful recruiter, right? You gotta breathe your culture code. It's gotta be ingrained in you deeply. Otherwise, you won't have enough, these unique selling points. These unique selling points are going to be all pretty superficial otherwise.
Well, what I would say is that in an ideal world, should you love your organization in order to promote or present your organization in the best possible light? Yeah, absolutely. But that's not always the reality. You can be a great recruiter and put forward points about your organization, even though inside you might be thinking, don't join this organization. Yeah, I'm about to leave. You can. But will you as an individual be fulfilled? Yeah. No. Would you be doing a disservice to your organization? Absolutely. So I think that what you're painting it almost is, like I said, that is utopia. That is the ideal scenario. But don't forget, people take jobs and I'm not just talking about recruiting. People take jobs because they need to pay their bills. So people take jobs as a stopgap. When they know in their head, they're literally going to be there for a short period of time before the next great thing comes along, which is what they really want to do.
And as a business owner, I actually try to detach myself emotionally from, for example, when people decide to leave.
Yeah.
I just recently had this guy who's been working with me for a year saying that he no longer wants to do a specific part of our job.
Yeah.
And he only wants to, like, he doesn't want to do, okay, I'm going to say it as it is.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to do short clips.
Okay.
He only wants to produce long podcasts.
Form. Okay. Yeah.
You see, and I don't know how, I'm still trying to understand how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't want to use your kindness, and spend
I can give you a therapy session. We can do this.
Yeah, a therapy session.
Yeah.
But I think high-performing individuals, at some point, they should take a step in order to maybe create some boundaries.
Yeah.
And I cannot be bitter about it as a business owner. What do you think about this?
So what I would say, first of all, what I'm hearing is that, initially it was kind of like a bit hurtful. It's like, you're leaving me. Yeah. And it's like, but why? Like,
like stabbing me in the back or something.
Yeah.
I don't know why I feel this, but I feel like that.
But that is common. That is common because you've worked with somebody, you developed a vision together, you think, this person together, we're going to help, take the organization to the next level. So when someone leaves you, of course, or says they want to leave because what they want no longer aligns with what you want, is it painful? Yes. But should you detach yourself emotionally? I would say no, because just because they leave, it doesn't mean that you no longer care about that individual. It doesn't no longer mean that you no longer want the best for that individual. And I get it. Don't get me wrong. I love my team. Yeah. I think my team that I have now is brilliant, as are, the team members I've had in other jobs. But I also am well aware that some members in my team do not want to stand still, or they want to go. They're using this almost as a stepping stone. This is good for them now, but they've taken this job or applied for that job because it's going to help them to develop the skill set that's going to allow them to do what they want in the future. And that's okay. They're not leaving you as an individual. Or if they are, that's a problem, because then you have to self-reflect and go, who am I as a leader and how do I better myself? But if you've done your job is to help them to get better, and get them to the next level, then it's great. Once you see them leave, you go, this is bittersweet. It's hurtful. It's sad because you're like, oh, we had all these plans together, or you had the plans, and I have the plans for my team, but you got them to the next level, and that is your job.
Yeah. I actually did get this guy to next level, connected him with someone to help him grow his YouTube skills. Yeah, I mean, that's totally fine. Totally fine. Do you ever hold grudges at all?
Oh, well, I'd love to say I don't hold grudges, right? Okay. So I do these Myers-Briggs, personality things. And so I'm an ESTJ, and the J part, I am naturally a judgy person. So someone am I allowed to swear in this podcast?
Yes.
Okay, so thank God. I was like, okay, maybe this one I can't swear. If someone pisses me off, trust me, my natural reaction is to give them a bombastic side eye, and I have to kind of control myself. I'm I think about what situation am I in?
Whatever.
I was like, who do you think you're talking to? And especially if I'm in work setting, I'm like, hold on, Emi, I need to pay my bills. Do not get fired from this job, you know? So that is my natural default setting, which means that am I also can be a little bit petty sometimes? Yeah, I can. Oh no, as a default, I can hold grudges if you piss me off enough. However, because I know this about myself, and because I know that I'm naturally judgy, and I know that I can hold grudges, what I try to do all the time is remember who I am as a person and go be better. Because when you hold a grudge, 9 times out of 10, the person that you holding a grudge with, they don't care. They've moved on. They're not even thinking about you. You're like literally the furthest in their mind. Whereas you're sitting there going, every time you see them. They don't care. They don't remember you. So who are you actually hurting? You're actually hurting yourself. You're causing yourself an inconvenience. So let it go. Like the song's going to start singing the Frozen song. but you literally let it go.
Yes, ma'am.
Let it go. It doesn't, if it's not actually helping you, then, and it's not benefiting you to hold the grudge, literally, and 9 times out of 10, it won't benefit you.
Yeah. And plus, a breakup, even if it's in a personal relationships, it's always a learning experience and a growing experience, right?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you have, like, when you break up with someone, you have to like go, oh my God, you're the best person ever. It's so sad that we're not together. Because sometimes you might just think, thank you for our time together. Because you might sit there and go, no, they're a dick. Yeah, you know. But that doesn't mean like you have to forgive them. It just means that you just put it there. That was a chapter of your life. What did I learn? I'm moving forward, because I'm not going to sit there wallowing about a past relationship for however many years. I'm not going to do that, because otherwise you're not going to have space to meet somebody else.
Emi, how important is the network effect in life and business?
I would say very. So in personal, I definitely think that you cannot do everything by yourself. And this is coming from someone whose default is to almost be too independent and to try and figure things by myself. Because like I said, with the dad situation, it was like, okay, who else is going to help me? Like, I need to sort myself out. But then at times you got to realize that can help you so far, but you have sometimes narrow tunnel vision.
Yeah.
You need to rely on friends, for example. And my friends, if they ever listen to this podcast, I'll send it to them. Yeah, that I've got friends who literally go, Emi, talk to me. How are you feeling? Da da da.
Oh, so nice of them. You have great friends. Yeah.
Honestly, my girls are brilliant, and they know what I'm like. So they're, Emi, I haven't heard from you. What's happening in this situation? Have you done this? And I'm like, no, I haven't done it. Okay, thank you. Da da da. Talk to me. How are you feeling? Because they know that it's not easy for me to reach out and ask for help. It's not a natural reaction. It's not. Yeah. I've always kind of just done things by myself. So my social network is super important.
Ooh.
Professional network is exactly the same. Because unfortunately, or fortunately, and rather I say, in this day and age, 2025, most things you cannot achieve by yourself. You may have a gap in skill set, which means that technically you cannot fulfill the task by yourself. Yeah. You might need, let's say, for example, you want to introduce a change to an organization. My job and my team's job is all about introducing change, getting people to adopt a new tool, getting people to change their behavior, getting people to change their mindset, letting people have a different perception. We're constantly throwing change at them, and we need them to adopt that change, because if not, it makes my team's jobs so much harder. Who helps me with that? Having advocates internally. So my professional network, who I can rely on and say, look, hey, we're about to roll out this.
Like a ringer, on the stage.
Help me, help my team say that this is a good thing. Say that I know that you like this tool. I know that you signed off on this, or you signed off with this new process. Please help us, and openly say that you're an advocate for us. That's important. Yeah.
The first two guys who will like for first two couple of dominoes, right? They need to fall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So 100%. So professionally, personally, 100%. You need your tribe around you. You need the tribe of people who, it doesn't matter if you're in the room or not in the room, that they will still have your back. And, you can have that in any situation. Like I did a talk a little while ago about being the only in the room. So it was for Black History Month in the US, people who are going into, say, Black people going into white spaces. They're the only person in the room. You need your professional and social network around you to be your support, to be your ally, to be like when you're feeling fearful or uncertain or unsafe. Those are the people who your network is going to help you through that.
What if someone feels like a lone wolf? what
Yeah.
if someone feels like they cannot belong anywhere?
Yeah. And I get that, and I get there's lots of people like that. I've been in a few situations where I just go, nah, this is not me. I don't feel comfortable at all.
Yeah.
And
We
that's where
should stick for tribe, but a little longer. I say we because I'm
Yeah.
like that too.
Yeah.
It feels like, yeah, try different communities here in Kiev, public speaking communities, podcast community, you know, and everywhere it seems like there's
Not
no
quite
like perfect match.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm too of a perfectionist, right?
Yeah.
But still, you know. So what do we do? Maybe we start our own tribe?
You could start your own tribe, because if you feel a certain way, there could be other people who feel exactly the same way as you, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, so you can have that, for example, in a work scenario where you're the only person from your country, or the only female, or the only person of your sexuality. You think you're the only person, but you know what? When you reach out, there are other people who feel the same way as you. And I'll give
Maybe
you
not exactly this, but they
or
might feel
align.
lonely
Yeah.
in the same, like,
Yeah.
by different criteria.
Yeah. Like, I'll give you like a stupid example, but just to illustrate the point. Yeah. I came from, before joining Elastic, so my current organization, I came from a UK organization. All the employees are from the UK. Yeah. As in not nationality wise, but based in the UK. I am also a massive reality TV fan, and one of my favorite programs is Love Island. Do you know Love Island?
Oh yes, Live Island. Yeah.
I love Love Island. I love it. I honestly, like, I'm so excited because the new season is coming out soon. I'm like, oh my God.
How many seasons there were already?
10. Well, in the world, I don't know, but in the UK, there's 10.
10.
And I've just started the US one, but it's Australia. It's brilliant. I love it. So I'm not that intellectual when it comes to TV. But when I worked at my previous organization, it was cool. There was loads of people I could talk to about Love Island. And then I came to Elastic, global organization, and I'm like, talk to my team members. Who watches Love Island here? Nope. Oh, okay. So I can't talk to my team? No. Excellent. So I'm like trying to find people in the organization. Most of them are in the US. And I'm like, who am I going to talk to about Love Island? You know, am I the only person who likes Love Island? So what did I do? I sent a Slack message initially to my recruitment team. And I go, hey, non-work related email. And I just started. So, you know, I kind of ruined my reputation of trying to be really ultra professional. Now people know how weird I am. I was like, non-work related email. I'm missing talking to people about Love Island. Does anyone like Love Island UK? And the people are like, me? Oh, I do. So what did I do? I set up a Slack community, the Love Island Appreciation Society, in my job.
Really?
I found my tribe. I found my tribe of people. So you don't have to wait for people to come to you. You can go out and find people and go, hey.
That's so creative. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Who else thinks like me?
I mean, this was so eye-opening, and I really didn't expect to. I mean, really, you know, when we choose people to talk to on our podcast,
Yeah.
I just realized that we should listen to our subconscious. Like,
Yeah.
my subconscious was giving me this hint that you have to talk to this lady.
Yeah.
Because every single time I watch you on Chat and Cheese, I can't take my eyes from and ears from you, because you're always bringing so much energy and fun. So I don't know, maybe a few words as we wrap up.
Yeah.
I don't know, how do we find something that we love in life? How do we become fulfilled?
Yeah.
And how do we enjoy life? Maybe some tips from you, Emma.
Sure. Okay. So how do you find what you like? You can do a bit of a self-reflection exercise, and almost like, you know, a to-do list, pros and cons, likes, dislikes, you know, and it could be stupid. It could be as stupid, like I said, as my love for reality TV. Why do I like reality TV? Because it's escapism. Yeah. It could be, oh, the country, I don't like being cold. But that not being cold leads me to go, oh, but I like living in warm countries.
Yeah.
You know, it could be that I don't like being in a space where people are not like me. So how can I then go, what I do like is finding my tribe of people. So if by writing that list and just even starting there, it's almost like that self-evaluation exercise. And then you can highlight and go, right, these are my likes, or this is what I know about myself. What is the most important for me? So then you can start ranking it. So that, I'm not saying that that's like a daily exercise. It might take a week. It might take a few months to really get to know yourself. But I think that's definitely the first thing that you need to do to try and understand yourself as a person. And then in terms of, I'm trying to remember the second question. Fulfillment. Yeah. From doing that list and then going, these are my priorities. You have to almost make a promise to yourself to accept that some of these things that you don't have in your life right now, and if you want to have it in your life, it means challenging your status quo. So the status quo of your environment, whether it's a work environment, a family environment, your friendship environment, whatever, you have to be willing to go, I'm going to rock things up, because if I want to achieve X, Y, Z, if I want to have this in my life, I'm going to have to push myself outside of my comfort zone and do something that I'm not really comfortable with. And you can take baby steps to get there. You don't have to do like what I did, get on a plane and go, right, Dubai. I don't even know anything about Dubai. Let's go there.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be that big.
But sometimes this is the only thing that works for people who cannot take baby steps. Sometimes we really have to take a leap.
Yeah, sometimes literally, sometimes you do have to. You know, I'm scared, terrified of heights. Stupidly, I went ziplining, the longest, fastest zip line in the world. I literally thought my heart was going to jump out my chest. I'm like, why did I do that first? I could have started with a baby zip line. You know, no. I chose the biggest one in the world to try and get with fear of heights. I mean, I'm still terrified of heights, but sometimes that's what you need to do. Take the big step. Other times you do baby steps and do, you know, like I said, if you think about going to another country, how about just visit that country first of all? You don't have to go straight away. Instead of like a 3-day weekend, why don't you stay there for 2 weeks? Because in that time, you get to see not just the touristy side, you get to maybe understand what it might be like to live there. Yeah. Why not reach out to something in that country? We've got Facebook, we've got LinkedIn, and go, hey, I'm in the country. I'm interested in finding out.
Emi, this was so great. Thank you so much.
No worries.
You're looking for a quality video production provider? Look no further. My name is Sergey and I own Beverly Production. We are a video production agency from Ukraine. You know, we help entrepreneurs to create credible online, offline podcasts and clips that drive interest, you know, to promote your podcast. As a podcaster myself, I early realized that there are not that many podcasts that put an emphasis on quality and creativity, you know, just making your videos look really cool. That's why we mix our videos up with different visual aids, sound effects, flashy transitions. We do dynamic switching and other cool creative things that just set apart your podcast from your competition. You can check our samples on the website, and we also help people to post the videos. So we take over YouTube management, and we can also run TikTok and LinkedIn for you. So if you're interested in something of this kind, don't hesitate to book a call with me. The contacts are available on the website. Thanks a lot.